there were some NGO people who were going around talking about the fact that Ghana has been identified as a country that is using child labor in cocoa production, and therefore there is going to be likely sanctions against Ghana's cocoa in Europe and elsewhere. And I was asking my constituents whether these people who were going around telling them this were Ghanaians. And the irony of it was that they were Ghanaians belonging to some NGOs talking to farmers in this direction. Madam, I was born and bred and brought up close to Sehi. I started my primary education in a village a town we call Krekrom in the Doma district. Madam, the only activity there is cocoa. And when our parents get up and they are going to farm on Saturdays and even on holidays, those of us children had no option than to follow our parents to their farms. And in there, we helped them. And when I started reading economics in the university, madam, I learned that one way of parents offloading their skills, their expertise, their professions to children are informal training through the way we do on our cocoa farms. Even Jesus Christ was trained by his father Joseph when he was working in the carpentry workshop. I want to caution that those of us who are so serious and looking at child labor in its strictest sense should try to place the activity into the Ghanaian cultural context before we begin to talk about child labor to the extent some of us want to go.
I think now we should begin to understand that what we have gotten used to in Ghana can equally be classified as child labor. Many children who are coming up and growing in homes and who are subjected to very hard labor conditions in our farms, in the mining industry, and in the markets, end up failing in school and therefore are not able to make it. It is important for us to know that the child is not a young adult. The child is a growing person who should be molded. The child's primary responsibility is to be in school and to be trained to become somebody in future.
Knowing that we are trying to build a knowledge-based economy, the difficulty sometimes has been the lack of resources of the parents, and that is why both governments of both sides blissfully have said that the FQ should operate and that facilities and social intervention programs have been put in place to ensure that children go to school.
Required by the military. I want to know from the minister if they were qualified. If they were qualified, then why were they? Why was their recruitment suspended in addition to the 192 applicants?
Yes. Through the investigations, it was detected that those 228 did not go through the entire process. I'm coming. The 228 were inserted. The 228 were inserted.
Let us hear the answer
they were inserted.
Of the minister.
That is what we came up with. The 228 were inserted. Sorry, Madam Speaker. It was 198 that were inserted. The 228.
Order, let him correct. No, you've had your question, haven't you? One question at a time. Yes.
Passed through the process. And because of that, the High Command decided that the entire exercise should be suspended.
Speaker, according to the Honorable Minister, illegally
order.
192 people were illegally smuggled or inserted to make up the 420. I want to find out from the Honorable Minister the source, who and who were doing this insertion and the smuggling?
Yeah.
I will read from the minister's own answer. Paragraph 1, line 3. At the end of the initial screening, 798 applicants were shortlisted for further screening exercise in Accra. The subsequent screening exercises resulted in the selection of 420 applicants to undergo a 6-month training at the Army Recruit Training School. Madam, in another breath, after 420 had gone through the processes by his own statement, he comes down to tell us that 192 were illegally inserted among these 120. Madam, what does the minister want to tell us? I want a clarification on this matter.